Today we're going to talk about how to migrate from Terraform Cloud to Scalr. We're going to go through two different demos. The first approach is going to be using a Terraform module that we have created, which calls the Terraform Cloud APIs, grabs the objects from Terraform Cloud, and then pushes them over into Scalr using the Scalr API. The second approach is purely using the Terraform open source CLI to be able to pull down state, update your backend, and then push state in. So to start, like I said, we'll use the module approach first. And with the module, it's pretty simple. The module is going to take your Terraform Cloud organizations, workspaces, workspace variables, and state files, and migrate those objects over to Scalr in a one-to-one relationship. To do this, you're going to need a Terraform Cloud access token, a Scalr access token. First, register a VCS provider in Scalr, and then also obtain the Scalr account identifier, which we're going to place in the module. Below here, you'll see that this is the module that is going to be used. So we'll see the inputs that we're going to set. And below, you're going to see a couple other optional inputs. So when you're migrating those environments over, are they going to have the same names that they had in Terraform Cloud, or do you want to update those? Also, maybe there's some workspaces you don't want to migrate over, or maybe want to migrate it at a different time, which is what you'll do with the workspace setting here. But for the demo purposes, we're just going to do a one-to-one mapping from Terraform Cloud into Scalr. So in Terraform Cloud, what you're going to see is I have my migration demo organization with a single workspace in there and with that workspace state here. In Scalr, I have a brand new account. The only thing I've done so far is register a VCS provider. So if you haven't done that already, you will want to do that. And the reason that you do want to register a VCS provider is that when we create those workspaces in Scalr, we're going to want to link it to that same VCS provider you were using in Terraform Cloud. I have a single environment that just comes out of the box when you sign up for a Scalr account. So what I'm going to do is drop into that environment there. And what you'll notice is that I actually took the module that we have over here. So I've taken this module, and you can execute this module using open source Terraform CLI. You can do it through a VCS workflow. But what I've chosen to do today is actually register this in Scalr. And I'm going to use a Scalr module-based workspace to do the migration for me. So we go ahead and click on that. We're going to see the README, and I'm going to create a workspace. Call this migration demo, and it's already defaulted to the module and that version. So all that looks good to me, and I'll go ahead and create that workspace. And now what we'll see with the assistant is that some variables are required. So those inputs that I mentioned at the beginning. We'll go ahead and click configure here, and now we'll have to grab some information. So first off, we'll need the Scalr account ID. And that can be found simply by going to your account scope and copying the account ID directly from there. Go back here, we'll paste that in. Next, the Scalr host name. So this is going to be your account name.scalr.io. So for me, it's going to be migration-demo.scalr.io. Next is your Scalr token, which can be grabbed, and you can either use a personal access token or a service token when you're doing this, but I'll use personal access for now, and I'll go ahead and generate that, copy it, back into my workspace, click configure again, and we'll paste that in. My VCS provider ID. So again, I've already created that VCS provider. I'm going to go back up to the account scope, click on my VCS providers here, migration demo, and we have that provider ID right here. And now you're going to want to grab your TF organization as well as API token. Paste in my TF token here, which will show up as sensitive. And that's it. So we've imported the module. We've created all the variables for input. And now simply all you have to do is queue a new run. And when we queue that run, what it's going to do is go out and call the Terraform Cloud API, grab those objects, push those objects over to Scalr again in a one-to-one mapping. And again, you have the options of doing some customization to that with those optional inputs you'll see in the module. So the plan is complete. Now we have the script has started to execute. And the apply is now done. So now what we should see is if I go back up to my account scope, previously we only had a single environment. And now we should see migration demo environment, which is the previously Terraform Cloud organization. And there is one workspace in there. So if I click on that workspace, we see the null resource module. That was the workspace name that I had in Terraform Cloud. And now we also see that state. So I flip over to Terraform Cloud. Again, null resource module, that state. And now we have successfully migrated from Terraform Cloud into Scalr with just a couple inputs into a module. So a fairly painless process. In this next demo, it's going to be more of a manual migration using Terraform CLI. So what you see here is I have my workspace migration demo manual in Terraform Cloud. I have my state file here. As we can see, we have an active state. And on the Scalr side, I have a Scalr environment named migration with no workspaces. So what we're going to do is use the Terraform CLI to pull down the state from Terraform Cloud and then push it up into Scalr to create the workspace and actually inject the state file as well. So first off, I'm going to come over to my workspace locally here, and we'll take a look at the Terraform configuration file. So it's just using a null resource for example purposes. But what we'll see is that I'm using the organization migration demo with the workspace migration demo manual. And at this point, all I really need to do is run a Terraform state pull. And we're going to want to make sure we have that as an output. It's going to pull down locally, which it has done. And then if you haven't done so already, you're going to want to run a Terraform login. In my case, it's Terraform login migration demo.scalr.io. And after running this, it's going to redirect you to Scalr UI. You grab the API token, paste it into the command prompt, which then saves it locally for you. I've already done that, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that for now. And really what we just have to do now is update that configuration file. So first we want to put in the host name, which in my case, migration demo.scalr.io. And then we want to update the organization to the Scalr environment ID, which can be found in the UI. So if I flip over to Scalr, we'll see on the environment dashboard, the environment ID down here. Copy that and then paste that. The rest of the information can stay the same. So we want the workspace name to stay the same. And we'll keep the rest of the configuration file as is. Now we just have to run a Terraform init, which is going to create that connection with Scalr. Go back into here. We'll look at our workspaces. We now see that the workspace has been created. And if we go in there, though, we'll see that we don't have any state. So first thing we're going to want to do is push that state up as part of that migration. So we'll come back into here. And the last step of the process is going to be run Terraform state push and then terraform.tf state. So that has executed. Jump over here. We'll do a quick refresh. And there we see it. So that is the same state that we had in Terraform Cloud. We pulled it down, pushed it over, and now we're ready to go.